Right, that understanding the awareness of the game, right? Like you can be the best, tween hezzy, but if you don't know when to do the tween hezzy, right? I mean, like you're just a basketball robot, and that's what I always tell my coaches, like building basketball players, and not building basketball.
What a great example, because if you go to the majority of camps or player development sessions or training sessions, and it's not a knock on trainers, I just think the good ones are really thinking ahead and figuring this stuff out now and getting ahead of actually what I'm doing, which is brilliant. Like, it's amazing some of the adaptability of so many great trainers after they've learned this stuff. But it's like, okay, they're going to practice and all they're doing in these memorized moves at their training session. And it's like, great. Then they come to me and I say, okay, here's where you use it. Hey, look, you just spent an hour with your trainer doing these moves. Here's where you use one of them. And that's really our responsibility now as a coach, because they're doing these things and we want them to do these things because it saves me time. I don't have to do those things in practice. I can connect skills and decisions through basketball, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's more fun to play games throughout. So I just have a quick little question here. Like as far as like your practices go, like what percent do you think are, like 1v1 type games versus like small sided 2v2 versus like 5v5? Or is there I'm sure there's some variation in art to the different type of practices.
Yeah, I mean, with my college team, it was probably, again, like, just to throw out a percentage, 90% 5-on-5, like, which may seem crazy for some, but literally 90% 5-on-5. Because again, what do we got to do? We got to create the situation. We got to play the situation. We got to figure out solutions. That's the whole point of basketball, and that was great. For younger, certainly there's more of a blending of things, to be able to pepper in different types of things. But I would say the majority of it is still like, okay, we're going to play basketball. We're going to play some version of basketball. And I'm a whole coach, part only if I need it. And I think that's a big change for coaches. If you really want to think about this stuff, again, forget about all the fancy words and forget about all the people telling you, no, you must never teach technique and all that stuff. No, no. I've coached basketball for 30 years. There's not one thing, but this is a better way because it empowers the players in their learning and creates active participants in their learning. There's no question, but it also creates this opportunity for them to be able to solve problems that they've never experienced before. And that's the whole goal of this, is if I teach them just, okay, just do this move, then I'm like, okay, great, just this move. Well, what if they're doing this? Well, now you need this move too. Well, it's like, how about let's just make a decision. Relative principles of play, find space. Within that space, what's your advantage? Leverage that advantage. And then what type of shot are you going to shoot for you or our team? Pretty simple at the end of the day. Whatever you do around that doesn't matter as much as what you do with those principles of play, or whatever Justin's principles of play, or et cetera, anyone else's is.
That makes a lot of sense. And while we hit our, the 2 minute warning, and you kind of talk about, obviously there's no one right way to coach, right? And just the way me and you coach are going to be different because of our different personalities, our different communication styles. Regardless, this type of coaching it's about player centric, empowering them, asking them questions, giving them an opportunity to build that awareness, like we talked about. So the final 2 minutes for the coaches that are listening, and even some of the parents that are on this journey that are figuring out like how to coach in this more contemporary method. What are kind of your thoughts and maybe like evaluations that you would encourage a coach to have after each practice so they can keep getting better as a coach?
Well, it's easy to say, number one, be yourself, right? That we all say that as a coach, be yourself, be yourself. But I'm like, no, no, that's not quite good enough. Like, to just be yourself is not good enough because it means you're not questioning yourself. So have an open mindedness about yourself, have a critical analysis about yourself, and really dive into what actually connects with a player versus what I think connects with a player. And honestly, you kind of nailed it there, is like, after every practice, if you can, do some type of peer analysis. That could be your assistant coaches, it could be with a parent that's watching, it could be something else, where you just send some type of form. Maybe it could be a form, maybe it could be a conversation, but just because, again, what you perceive works, some other people might perceive it doesn't work, and that critical analysis helps you come to a conclusion, as opposed to just a conclusion that's based on survivorship bias. This is the way I was coached, or this worked for me. I was a great player, so this will work for you. Well, damn, you're still not using the original iPhone. What are you talking about? Like everything evolves in life. Like your doctor's not the same doctor they were 20 years ago. Thank God, right?
Right.
Their knowledge is updated. So have an open-mindedness, but approach things from a critical analysis. You are not a good enough coach and you never will be. That type of humility is so important. And I am that. Like I'm never a good enough coach. I can always be better. And I always think about things and reflect on things and go, I could have done that better. So I know a lot of coaches talk about this, but I have a simple, like it's on my phone, a simple notes folder where I just constantly put in notes. And at some point, probably when I'm stuck on an airplane, mostly it happens, like I'll read back through them and kind of reflect on different things and have this reflection exercise. And then I think I said like peer analysis, so an assistant coach, parent feedback, um, some type of reflection exercise for yourself there, and then Jen, the 2 minute warning here to record yourself. Like you don't have to record yourself all the time, but you got to record yourself with audio and then listen. And I think this is one of the most painful things to do initially
Yes.
is to
Yes.
listen to yourself.
Right.
Listen to yourself coach a game, listen to yourself give a speech, listen to yourself communicate and practice. There will be nothing that heightens your awareness and your development more. And then I got to add one more thing. You don't have to go all in on all this. Pepper it in. Try something. Can try constraints led drill. Try a small sided game. Try playing basketball for a whole practice, and then see how you feel and see what you feel you're missing, and then come to conclusions. The problem is if you just stick where you were, you're going to stay where you were. So try some of this other stuff and then figure out where the balance is for you, and you'll be a better coach. And I guarantee your players will have a better experience.
I love that. That's it's really powerful, right? And I think one of the most important is I probably should be coaching or videoing myself a little bit more to like, because sometimes I'll be home and I'll think about what I said. I'm like, I should have said that. I needed to do this, right? So constantly, I feel like what's helped me get to where I am, from where we first had our conversation, is because I'm so critical of myself, and like I need to be better here. Like for me now, I'm learning how to be a leader of coaches, right? How to lead. We have coaches education calls and we give each other feedback. And I'm like, just because I'm the leader, I don't say, oh, you do a good job, this. No, tell me what I am struggling with, because that's how I get better